Yo, 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 people and patrons of the night. It is your boy, BD, and I am the host of the Horror Tavern. So make sure that you take a seat, you grab a drink, because we're going to be exploring the limitless cavern that is the horror genre. And specifically, we're going to be talking about found footage anthology horror. That's right. And this is arguably the most famous found footage anthology horror series out there. I don't know if there is any others, but if there is, this is the most famous one. And this is arguably probably one of the most famous found footage movie franchises just in general. And that is the VHS franchise. And specifically, I'm going to be talking about the very first VHS movie, VHS 2012, which is where it all started. Now, a lot of you probably know about this movie. You've either seen it or you've at least heard about it at some point. The very first time that I heard about this movie was actually from a Jacksepticeye Q&A video he had back in the day. This was before his channel got as big as it did. It was still growing fast at that rate, but he was basically in a Q&A video, and a fan had asked him, what is one of the scariest horror movies that you've ever seen? And he said that recently, quite recently, he had seen a horror movie called VHS. And this VHS horror movie really freaked him out. It really got under his nerves and really scared him. He went into detail about some of the segments that got to him. And I was very much interested by that point. I was a young kid, but I wanted to go research. So I went on Wikipedia, found VHS, looked up some of the stuff involving it, and I thought it sounded really scary, really creepy. And now as an adult, I decided, you know what, let me go actually watch the movie and see how I feel about it. And this movie did not disappoint. This movie is very creepy. It's very scary. It's got some dark, disturbing, and creepy moments in it. It's a very well-paced and well-shot movie. And found footage, I am a fan of, because found footage is one of the only horror genres, or I guess ways to shoot a movie, that genuinely unnerves me. For some reason, found footage, analog horror, just that really gritty, not well, done camera quality with the first person perspective. It really just makes me immersed into it and makes me feel like I'm right there. And a lot of jump scares and creepy moments and scary visuals just work extremely well in good found footage. So this is why this movie is very effective to me. This is a good found footage movie, and the fact that it's a good found footage horror movie, and that too anthology, not only is it creepy, disturbing, and dark to me, and it actually genuinely scared me, but it's also really fun and really interesting. And I would recommend that all of you guys go check out VHS 2012. This is one of my favorite horror movies that I have seen, and I will definitely be rewatching it at a certain point, later down the line, some years. And I'm excited to watch the rest of it. I've seen the first 3 movies so far before, it died off. And then I've yet to see the Shudder VHS movies, which I'm very excited for as well. So, VHS 2012. What is this movie about? How do I feel about each individual segment? Because again, it's an anthology movie. And what are my overall thoughts by the end? That's what I'm going to be covering for this video review. So first, let's start off with the beginning of the movie. The beginning of the movie starts off with a wraparound segment, which I'll cover my thoughts of at the end. But the wraparound segment is adequately called Tape 56. Now, this segment is basically about a bunch of delinquent teenagers who I guess are shooting videos for early YouTube or some website forum, and they pull mean-spirited pranks and a lot of just asshole shit on people. They'll basically go up to couples and basically push around and beat up the boyfriends, and then grab their girlfriends or wives and then pull up their shirts and flash their titties in front of the camera and then shove them away and run out of there before the cops are called or before they get beat up. They also go around and vandalize abandoned houses. They'll break the windows, graffiti, just do a lot of horrible shit. And they'll also have sex with women and record it without their consent and then upload it. So these guys basically are just pieces of shit. They're assholes. They are I guess Steve-O was saying that on Jackass, he does pranks the way he does on themselves. They do that type of crazy shit on themselves because, they're ready for it. They don't do stuff on other people to make them feel bad. These guys are the opposite. They're doing shit on other people. And they may or may not have some vengeance against them, some adequate vengeance. They end up getting this opportunity, a job opportunity, where this guy tells the leader that they can come shoot at his house. And they give him a shooting location, go and do some videos there. And as they get invited to this spot, they're driving there late one night. And apologies, I'm sick, so I may be coughing. So if that happens, just bear with me. I've been sick for like the past few weeks, and it's not going away. This shit is a bitch. But they're going down one night to this house, and when they get there, it looks abandoned. It looks sort of like just empty. It doesn't, no real signs of life there. And when they go up to the front door and they knock on it, try to do the doorbell, the door creaks open. It's open. So they go inside, taking that as an invitation that the guy just, I guess, let them in. And as they start exploring the house, they realize that it is really dark, dingy, sort of looks abandoned. But then they get up to the second floor and they see this older guy is basically passed out or dead on a sofa chair. He's just straight up slumped. Now, it could either be he took too hard of a bong hit, it could be he took way too much, tequila, or he's just straight up dead. And they're leaning towards the third option. And they then take that opportunity to then start vandalizing the house. They're gonna try to see if they can steal anything of value, potentially rob the place. But one of the guys decides to stay behind in the same room that the guy is basically dead in, because he sees all these VHS tapes that are lined up against this old school TV. And he sees that there's some cryptic messaging on there. These VHS tapes look sort of creepy, sort of, sketchy. They look like they might be like snuff films or something. So he, out of, morbid curiosity, grabs the VHS tapes and starts putting them into the TV. And the TV has a webcam that's shooting forward. So, I don't know if it's I think it might not be a webcam. I think he might have just put his webcam camera on top of there and decided to play the VHS films. So the camera is basically facing towards him, and in the background is the guy who's either dead or passed out. And this is how the movie shoots its anthology segments. So he puts in a VHS tape. Once it ends, he sort of gives his reaction. You get some more of the wraparound segment, and then it'll cut back to him putting in a new VHS tape. So the first VHS tape that he puts in leads to the first story segment, which is called Amateur Night. This is also what my ex-girlfriend Felicia called every night that I was with her. Damn it. Anyway, Amateur Night, basically about these college frat boys who are going to go out for a night of clubbing. They're going to go party, drink, try to meet some women, and bring them back to their motel room. And you have these two college guys who are like your typical sort of guys, very confident, very extroverted, fuck yeah, dude, let's party, man. Those kind of guys, you all know them from college. And they basically have this third guy who's in their friend group, and he's sort of a more nerdy guy. He looks like the meme image of like, you ever seen the meme image of like the Virgin Walk, where you got that guy in like the gray shirt, black hair, glasses, and he's sort of just like looking down, the stereotypical definition of a Sigma male, or is it Sigma? I don't know if it's Sigma Alpha. I don't keep up with that shit. He just looks like, the definition of the Virgin Walk meme that passes around on the internet. So as you can tell, he's a very nerdy guy, very introverted. He's sort of out of his element involving partying, but they invited him and he has some peer pressure. But there's a twist to this story, and that's the reason why it's found footage. They give him a pair of spy glasses. It's these pair of glasses that when you put it on, it has a little camera in the middle that's pretty much undetectable unless you look closely or you know what you're looking for. And this camera is basically a webcam, so you can record it. So they want to record this entire night of them drinking, partying, potentially having some sex with some girls, just so they can look back at it in the future as like a fun moment. So they decide to go out for the night, go to a club. And as they go to a club, you see them start mingling. They start drinking a lot. The two extroverted frat boys, college guys, are just having a lot of fun, talking to a lot of women, acting a fool. And then the introverted guy, he's having fun. He's sort of loosening up as he, takes more shots. But you can tell he's very much sort of out of his element. He's like a fish out of water. He'll run to the bathroom a lot and feel very nervous. But as the night continues and they start meeting more and more women, there's a strange girl who approaches this guy with the webcam glasses. And she's sort of like a quieter girl at the club. She's not really mingling, but she looks creepy. And apologies to the actress. I don't mean any disrespect. All I mean is that your face is creepy as shit. I'm just kidding. I'm not. This bitch looks creepy as all fucking shit. And considering what she does in this segment, I'm not at fault. I'm not the bad guy, all right? She at least looks better than some of my exes. And that's after the transformation scene, too. I'm just saying. She is sort of this weird girl. She's sort of just like stalking and lying around, and she goes up to this guy and she says, I like you. I like you. And she says it like very aggressive, to the point. I typically like those kind of girls to the point. She's a little too much to the point. And again, this girl for some reason looks like the precursor to the Momo image. I don't know if you guys have seen that image passed around on the internet years ago about Momo. It was like this very pale girl with long black hair, small mouth, and these huge wide eyes. This girl looks like the precursor to Momo. She just naturally looks like Momo in this case. That was a fake image. I think it was like a movie prop or something. This is a real girl, so even creepier. And again, she's not interacting with anybody. She's just very fixated on this one quiet guy and just saying, I like you, I like you. And she's not talking. She's not doing any other conversation outside of that. So as the night continues and they keep partying, the two frat guys and this quieter guy manage to bring home some girls. They drive back drunk back to their hotel room, and they bring this one brunette pretty girl that one of the guys was talking to, and then Lily is also in the car. And Lily, again, is very standoffish. You can tell that she's sort of looking at the quiet guy with these, puppy dog eyes. She's very much interested in him, and then she's looking with content at the other dudes and girl. They get back to the motel room. They start trying to get freaky deaky, but the brunette girl that the one guy was trying to, rizz up and talk to, she ends up falling asleep because she's straight, piss out drunk. And he gets very disappointed, and then he moves on to Lily. And again, Lily is very aggressive. She starts getting more and more aggressive as the night continues. Not only is she only talking to the quiet guy, but when the other dudes try like laughing and joking with her, she'll just like basically start snarling at them and hiss and go like, fuck off. Like she'll start like hissing and acting like a vicious cat, and they're like weirded out by her. But then the guy who the chick passed out on, he then goes up to Lily, takes her away from the quiet guy. The quiet guy in his virgin walk goes to the bathroom, and he's very disappointed. And as he gets back out, he sees that this guy is trying to have sex with the girl. And they start violently having sex. He starts getting invited to come over there, and then all of a sudden things go bad. She may or may not start violently attacking the guy she's having sex with, starts ripping out his flesh, starts biting into him. Not the kinkiest night I've never had. But yeah, this is just, as far as my experiences had with kinky nights, this is not the craziest thing, but it's still pretty freaky. And I can imagine to these guys on amateur night, it's quite horrifying to see a woman biting and ripping out the flesh of your best friend. So as this happens, the two guys start getting freaked out, and things start going bad. She starts becoming more and more vicious. She may or may not be something more than meets the eye. Potential entity, potential creature that is sexually invigorated, but also trying to find human prey for sustenance. And she stumbled upon some dumb, easy human prey. And this turns into some vicious attack scenes. These guys are locked in the motel room with her. They try breaking out. And eventually the quiet guy manages to get out after witnessing some, again, insane gore, insane violence, blood, organs, all this crazy stuff that gets shown. And he tries to go down the exit stairs of this motel building, and as he does, he ends up falling down the stairs. He ends up breaking his wrist, and he's in a lot of pain, but he still has the webcam glasses on. And there's a horrifying scene that scared the shit out of me, and it's him looking at the staircase, and he's hoping that she doesn't come down, and he's trying to get up, but he's in a lot of pain. And then when he looks back, it's her, this Momo, again, looking girl, crazy ass looking girl, that's potentially may or may not post-transformed into something, and she's staring around the corner of the stairs, just eyeballing him, and then starts crawling towards him. It is horrific. I was like, dude, get the shotgun, blast her ass, get the fuck out of there. But of course, he doesn't have that, and it's, again, very terrifying. Scared the shit out of me. That's one of the creepiest scenes that I've seen in a horror movie, and it just really got to me. And then some more bad stuff starts happening, and the ending to this segment is very dark. So that's Amateur Night. Amateur Night, I think, was written and directed by a guy named David Bruckner, and it was also co-written by a guy named, I think, Nicholas Tarkovsky. You guys did a great job. This is a great segment. I would give this segment probably a 9 out of 10. It's very creepy with some of the scenes involving Lily and some of the stuff that happens later on. I'm a fan of creature features, and this is a creature feature. If you can't infer what she is, you probably could if you're a horror fan, but some of you might find out later if you watch the movie. Very horrifying, the scenes involving Lily, what happens to the guys being locked in this motel room. And again, you get some really great gore, you get some really creepy scenes, and you get some dark ending. The implications of the ending is quite fucked up. And it was just a really scary segment, especially towards that second half. The first half is sort of slow, but it's just average. But I think that second half really made up for it. So I give this one a 9 out of 10. The next segment in here, I'm not going to talk about all the stuff involving the wraparound because in between each of the stories you get a wraparound segment. I'll talk about it at the end. But the second segment is called Second Honeymoon. And this was written and directed by a person, I don't know if it's a guy or girl, but a person named T. West. And this is the weakest segment in the whole movie. I don't really want to talk too much about it. It's just very boring, meandering, basic. And then the ending is a twist ending that's just sort of for shock value. It doesn't make much sense. But it's about this recently married couple, as the title hints, second honeymoon. And they're going out to, I think, the Grand Canyon. They're going out on vacation. They get a motel room. And they do a good job acting. Excuse me. They're a very believable couple. You know, you get some good interaction scenes between them. And one night, the husband basically says that there was a woman that ended up knocking on their door, kind of seemed like a drugged out meth head or something, and she was asking for a ride back home, and she wants to see if she can hitchhike a ride with them. He declined. He didn't really, answer much, sort of just shut the door on her, thinking that she might have just been some crazy stranger, which is pretty good. That's how I would be. But then as the nights continue of the segment and of their honeymoon, one night, a camera turns on that belongs to them and starts recording. And all the lights are out in the room. It's a very dark, creepy setting of this empty, dingy motel room. And the husband is sleeping, so it goes into a zoom in of the husband snoring and sleeping. So you think it might be the wife. And then the camera turns around and you see the wife sleeping. And you're like, oh shit, it's a stranger. This is not this is not the wife. This is a complete stranger. And the stranger, again, there's heavy breathing. They're just sort of awkwardly staring and spying on these people. And then they pull off the covers of the wife's blanket, and then they pull out a switchblade and start, caressing her ass cheek. So you get the sense it might be like a sinister killer or something. And as the segment continues, they just go to a dark corner of the house, not the house, the motel room, and starts recording them. And that's basically it. And as the story continues, more and more you get the hint that somebody may be breaking into their privacy, spying on them. And again, it's a very boring, meandering segment. Not really much happens at all. And then the ending portion, the twist, is just sort of random. It's just like go gadget bullshit. No real hints as to what's going on. It's just a what the fuck ending for shock value. And I wasn't that impressed by it. I would give this segment probably like a 5.5 out of 10. It's leaning towards bad, but there's some creepy scenes in there that kind of at least make up for it. So it's sort of just like a boring meh segment. It's kind of bad, but it's not full bad. There's some things in it that are interesting, but the weakest segment out of all of them. So that's Second Honeymoon. The third segment is a really fun, really creative one that I wish would get turned into an entire movie. And that is Tuesday the 17th, which is a play on Friday the 13th. Tuesday the 17th is written and directed by a guy named Glenn McQuaid. This segment is basically about these teenagers, these high school kids, who are going out to this spot in the woods. I don't know if it's like a summer camp or cabin or just like a hangout area by this lake. You have this brunette girl who's sort of quiet and acting strange. You have this extremely hot blonde girl, straight fucking baddie. She's in the car, very sort of typical character. You got this more confident, kind of good-looking Chad kind of guy. And then you have, of course, the virgin walk, just that sort of nerdy, awkward kind of dude. But they seem like a good friend group. They're always joking around with each other. Classic sleazy fun kind of group of characters. They're going out to this spot, the summer area where they can go drink, smoke, party, have a good time, go, swim in the lake. But the brunette girl who led them here apparently starts acting weird and starts revealing that there may have been some unsolved murders at the area that they're going to. And that should raise some red flags because they think that she's joking, but she may or may not be. And you would suspect that, well, if she's leading me to a place where some murders happened, get the fuck out, I'm not going there. But they go there anyway. And as they get there, you get into a slasher. There is a slasher entity. It could be a person, but I think it's an entity because of some things that happen at the end of the segment. There is a slasher entity that starts targeting and killing the kids. And this slasher entity is one of the most interesting, cool, and fun concepts I've seen in any horror media. And essentially, this is an entity that can only appear on camera. It's invisible to the naked human eye, nobody can see it, but when it's on camera, it appears. And it doesn't appear as a fully fleshed being. It appears as a glitchy silhouette of a human that starts walking around through the camera, and it can start killing people. So you can only see this thing when it's on camera, and even when it's on camera, its face is glitched out, its body is glitching. It's just this glitching silhouette kind of moving human blob thing that comes in and starts killing people. It starts stabbing people to death, starts viciously murdering them, and they have to find out a way on how to take care of it. And you find out that maybe one of the characters may or may not have known something about the area, may or may not have some relations to this entity somehow, and the kids have to find out a way to solve and beat it, and it is very difficult. This entity, again, is not only scary because it's invisible and you can only see it, in this glitchy form on camera, but, it may or may not be easy to kill and defeat. So that's all I want to give. Maybe that was more than I should have gave away, but this is a very fun segment, very interesting. You get some good gore, but it's just a very interesting take on a slasher, and I really enjoy it. This is a fun segment. I would give this one an 8.5 out of 10. This is a very good segment, yeah, just fun, just good. Good gore, good violence, and I would want this turned into a movie just because the concept of that as an entity is really good. So yeah, props to that. Glenn McQuaid, I want you to make that into a movie if you ever get the chance, or somebody pick this up and make this into a movie of a similar title or something. I don't know. Next one is a segment called The Sick Thing That Happened to Emily When She Was Younger. That title took about 2 weeks to create and a blood sacrifice, so I hope you guys like it. Very detailed, very creative, just well thought out. Yeah, it's not that good of a title. But the segment is creepy. The segment is about this guy who's on a webcam. He's meeting up with this younger girl. You can kind of get the hint that he's sort of like a groomer. He's like an older doctor kind of guy. And he meets with this girl, and she, starts talking to him very seductively. You can get the hint that they might be in a relationship. And, she flashes her titties at him, just sort of like sexual webcam stuff. And you find out that he may have met her when she was like 16 or 15 and groomed her up until then. Quite disturbing. And as the segment goes on and he keeps doing these Zoom calls, or I said Zoom calls. Zoom didn't fucking exist back then. Skype calls, or whatever, webcam calls. Some weird stuff starts happening in her house, where she'll swear that she can see entities behind her when the door is open to her bedroom, and they look like these small children that are running around. She thinks that her house may be haunted, and eventually, as the story continues, she has some like weird things that are going on in her body, and she starts like digging at her arm with a fork and ripping it open, and she has to get it tourniqueted up. And as the story continues, she starts getting more and more flustered, and she wants to investigate the house. And her boyfriend, in this case, the guy, is very reluctant to do that. He seems to be kind of like manipulative. He like is into her and likes her, but he's not really like, committed to her, or maybe he feels that this relationship may be wrong, which it is. But she wants to get to know him better. And he tries to comfort her. He tries to give her some confidence because there's not much that he can do in the situation. And as the story continues, it gets creepier and creepier and weirder and weirder. And there's a lot of good jump scare ones in this segment. And there's a twist. There's a big twist involving what may be happening. And it is really fucked up. I was not expecting that. When it happens, I was like, what the fuck is going on? And even till this day, I still don't really know what's happening, but you get some hints that there may be more than meets the eye happening between these two and whatever's happening in this house. And the ending implies some dark stuff, that there may be some multiple victims in this case, and that's all I'm gonna say. So that's the segment, The Sick Thing That Happened to Emily When She Was Younger. Holy fuck, make a shorter segment title. Jesus Christ. That is the segment. I would give this one like a 7.5 out of 10. Above average. Pretty good segment. It had some creepy stuff in there. It's weird, but weird in a good way. But I wasn't that big of a fan of it, but still, it's pretty good. I enjoy it. So that's a sick thing that happened to Emily when she was younger. That's the last time I'm mentioning that fucking story title. And finally, my favorite segment in this entire movie is the very last one, and it's called 10/31/98, which, if you can't tell, is the date of Halloween in 1998. So it's Halloween 1998, 10/31/98. And this was written and directed by, I don't know if this is a person or a group, but they're called Radio Silence. Shout out to you guys, or you if it's one person. You did a fantastic job. This is a great horror segment. 10/31/98 is about these group of friends who are going to a haunted house out on Halloween. They're grown up, and they can tell that they're a little bit too old for Halloween, but they want to enjoy it before they become way too old. And they're just a good friend group. They want to have some fun out there, so they get a little bit drunk, they get a little bit tipsy, they go out to this, I guess, haunted house. And as they get there, this haunted house is strange because it was meant to be like a meetup site for like a party, a Halloween party, but it's completely empty. And as they go into the house, they check it out. It's very creepy, and it may or may not be haunted after all, because they see some very horrific things. They see some scary sights in there, like women appearing, things moving around, potentially the walls moving, very eerie, creepy stuff. And they go up to the attic where they think that some people may be up there partying, and up in the attic they see a seance, exorcism, murder, sacrifice, something happening to this girl that freaks them out. And as they try to escape out of the house, they become very guilty, thinking that they might leave her behind, this girl that's either being exorcised or murdered or sacrificed or whatever. So they head back up there and try to save her and get her out of the house. And holy shit, there is some horrific stuff that starts happening. This house very much may be alive. You get some horrific scenes, like, again, doors closing, windows closing, things moving around, entities appearing, not appearing. And there's horrific visual effects of these arms and hands that start reaching through the drywall plaster and reaching towards them. These arms and hands start emerging from the floorboards, from the walls, from different areas, and trying to grab them. And it is some Lovecraftian, horrific ass shit that scared the hell out of me. And the situation gets resolved in a very dark way. Maybe not. They bit off more than they could chew, and the ending is very fucking sinister. So this gets a 9.5. This is a great segment. It was so creepy. I love haunted house segments. You have a haunted house segment on Halloween? Yes, sir. That's right up my alley. And just the visual effects. If it was done in high quality, these visual effects would look bad, but because it's done in found footage, they are very creepy, and it did a fantastic job. I love this story segment. So yeah, 9.5 out of 10. 10/31/98 is the best segment in this entire movie to me. So great job, Radio Silence. And that's it. The wraparound segment has some jump scare scenes in it. The house that they're in with these VHS tapes, maybe not, has more than meets the eye. And they start figuring that out as the story continues. And they all get targeted justly because they're all pieces of shit. So they had what's coming to them. And that wraps up VHS 2012. This movie, to me, it's a 9.5 out of 10. This is going in my Hall of Fame, one of my favorite horror movies that I've ever watched. I love good found footage. I love anthology. I love really scary horror. And this hits all three of those. So yeah, great movie. I suggest you go check it out. Very creepy, very dark, but a lot of fun. And that's all I have for today. I'll be doing future reviews of the VHS movies as well as other movies on my channel. And if you click down below, you'll see that I have book reviews, movie reviews, TV show reviews, all types of content. So if you like that, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button down below. We're almost at 300 subscribers. Try to get us there, expand out our content, grow our community. And that's all I have for today. Hope you guys enjoyed, and deuces. Take care. I've shot this review, I think, like 3 or 4 times because I kept fucking up at something, and it still ended up being 29 minutes. So even though this is a long video, I hope you guys enjoyed this detailed review, and please hit that subscribe button. Almost at 300. I shamelessly